Picture this: Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, sitting alone in his tent during a military campaign, writing in his personal diary. The emperor of Rome, commander of legions, ruler of nations, was wrestling with the same demon that haunts us today: self-doubt. How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, he wrote, but only to what he does himself. 2,000 years later, that whisper of uncertainty still echoes in our minds. The voice that tells us we're not enough, that we'll fail, that we should stay small and safe. Today, we're going to silence that voice forever, using 7 principles from the philosophy that guided emperors, slaves, and everyone in between through their darkest moments of doubt. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the ancient wisdom that transforms uncertainty into unshakable confidence. The Stoics didn't promise an easy path. They promised a powerful one. These weren't armchair philosophers debating abstract concepts. These were warriors, statesmen, and survivors who faced real challenges, real failures, and real fears. Seneca lost fortunes and faced exile. Epictetus was born into slavery. Marcus Aurelius carried the weight of an empire on his shoulders. Yet each of them developed an inner fortress that no external circumstance could breach. They discovered that self-doubt isn't a character flaw, it's a choice. And today, you're going to learn to choose differently. We'll explore 7 transformative principles that will reshape how you see yourself, your capabilities, and your place in the world. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit that turns doubt into fuel and fear into wisdom. Let's begin. The first principle strikes at the very root of self-doubt: how we perceive our circumstances. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. Self-doubt is always a story we tell ourselves about what something means, about what our mistakes say about us, what our fears reveal about our character, what our struggles predict about our future. Consider Sarah, a talented artist who stops painting after her first gallery rejection. The event, a rejection letter, is neutral. The suffering comes from her interpretation. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I should give up. The Stoic sees the same rejection differently. This gallery wasn't the right fit. I have information to improve my work. I'm one step closer to finding where I belong. This shift in perception isn't positive thinking or self-deception. It's rigorous honesty about what we actually know versus what we assume. Marcus Aurelius reminds us how much trouble he avoids, who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself. The discipline of perception means seeing clearly, without the distortions of comparison, catastrophizing, or mind-reading. When self-doubt creeps in, pause and ask yourself, what story am I telling about this situation? What are the facts, stripped of interpretation? What would I tell a friend facing this same circumstance? The Stoic doesn't deny difficulty. They see it clearly, without the amplification of anxious imagination. The second principle provides the foundation for all Stoic wisdom: the dichotomy of control. Epictetus divided all things into 2 categories: those within our control and those beyond it. This isn't a philosophical exercise. It's a practical tool that eliminates most sources of self-doubt. We doubt ourselves because we're trying to control outcomes, other people's opinions, past events, and future circumstances. The Stoic asks a different question: what can I actually influence right now? Your effort, your choices, your responses, your preparation, your attitude. These belong to you completely. Everything else is borrowed territory where doubt thrives because control is impossible. Think of James, an entrepreneur who lies awake worrying about whether investors will fund his startup. He's trying to control their decision, their preferences, their timing, all outside his influence. The Stoic approach redirects his energy. Can I improve my presentation? Can I strengthen my business model? Can I prepare for multiple scenarios? Can I maintain my composure regardless of their decision? This principle transforms self-doubt from a paralyzing force into useful information. Doubt about things outside your control becomes irrelevant. Doubt about things within your control becomes motivation for action. When you catch yourself doubting, ask, is this something I can influence? If yes, channel that energy into preparation and effort. If no, practice the discipline of acceptance. The Stoics discovered something profound. We have more control than we think in some areas, and less control than we assume in others. Mastering this distinction is the key to unshakable confidence. The third principle seems counterintuitive, deliberately imagining loss, failure, and setbacks. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Modern psychology knows it as defensive pessimism, and research shows it actually reduces anxiety and improves performance. Self-doubt often stems from our fear of the unknown. We avoid taking action because we can't predict the outcome. We remain paralyzed by what might go wrong. Negative visualization transforms this fear into preparation. By mentally rehearsing challenges, we develop confidence in our ability to handle whatever comes. Marcus Aurelius regularly imagined losing his position, his health, his loved ones, not from morbid fascination, but as training for resilience. He wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." He understood that by facing potential losses in imagination, he could face actual losses with dignity. Consider Maria, who avoids public speaking because she fears embarrassment. Through negative visualization, she imagines the worst-case scenario, forgetting her words, audience indifference, technical difficulties. Then she asks, if this happened, how would I respond? What would I learn? How would I recover? She discovers that even her worst fears are survivable, often trivial in the larger context of her life. This practice doesn't make you pessimistic. It makes you prepared. You stop avoiding opportunities because you've already mentally rehearsed the challenges. You take action with clear eyes, knowing that you can handle whatever outcomes arise. The Stoic who has imagined failure approaches success with humility and setbacks with equanimity. The fourth principle addresses one of self-doubt's primary sources, seeking validation from external judges. The Stoic develops what Warren Buffett calls an internal scorecard, a personal standard of excellence independent of others' opinions. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." He understood that growth requires moving beyond the need for constant approval. The person trapped by external validation will always doubt themselves because they're playing a game where the rules constantly change and the judges are unpredictable. The internal scorecard asks different questions. Did I act according to my values? Did I give my best effort? Did I learn something? Did I treat others with dignity? Did I face my fears? These standards remain consistent regardless of external outcomes. Consider David, a writer who measures success by likes, shares, and comments. His confidence fluctuates with every post. The Stoic writer asks instead, did I express my truth? Did I craft my sentences with care? Did I serve my readers? Did I grow in my craft? His self-worth becomes unshakable because it's based on factors he controls. The fifth principle provides perspective when self-doubt makes our problems seem overwhelming. Marcus Aurelius regularly practiced what he called the view from above, imagining his challenges from the perspective of cosmic time and space. "Remember how brief life is, how vast the universe," he wrote. "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." This isn't meant to minimize our struggles, but to place them in proper context. The presentation you're nervous about, the relationship that's challenging you, the career decision you're facing, all significant but not catastrophic in the grand scheme. This perspective dissolves the urgency that feeds self-doubt. When we're convinced that this moment, this decision, this outcome will define us forever, pressure becomes unbearable. The view from above reveals that we have many moments, many decisions, many opportunities to learn and grow. Sarah, our artist from earlier, benefits from this practice. When she imagines her career from the perspective of decades rather than this single rejection, she sees a longer story, one where this setback becomes a small chapter in a larger narrative of growth, persistence, and eventual mastery. The Stoics understood that we are neither as important as our ego suggests, nor as insignificant as our fears whisper. We are human beings living brief but meaningful lives, capable of growth, contribution, and dignity, regardless of any single outcome. The sixth principle transforms self-doubt's greatest weapon, obstacles, into sources of strength. The Stoics believed that impediments to action become the path forward. What blocks us can teach us, strengthen us, and redirect us toward better opportunities. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This isn't mystical thinking, it's practical wisdom. Every obstacle contains information, develops character, or opens new possibilities. When self-doubt arises from facing difficulties, the Stoic asks, "What can this teach me? How can this make me stronger? Where might this lead me that I wouldn't have gone otherwise?" The obstacle becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. Consider Rachel, who loses her corporate job and initially sees this as confirmation of her inadequacy. The Stoic perspective reveals opportunities, freedom to pursue work that aligns with her values, time to develop new skills, motivation to build something of her own. The obstacle becomes the catalyst for a more authentic life. This principle requires practice and patience. Not every obstacle's purpose is immediately clear. Sometimes we must endure difficulty before understanding its value. The Stoic maintains faith that growth comes through challenge, that strength develops through resistance, that wisdom emerges through experience. The seventh and final principle provides the foundation for lasting confidence. Living according to your nature as a rational, social being capable of virtue. The Stoics believed that self-doubt dissolves when we align our actions with our deepest nature, when we act with wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Self-doubt often signals that we're living inauthentically, pursuing goals that don't align with our values, or avoiding responsibilities that would develop our character. When we live according to nature, using our reason, contributing to our community, developing our virtues, confidence emerges naturally because we're fulfilling our purpose. Epictetus taught that we are actors in a play written by fate, but we choose how to perform our role. Whether you're cast as a leader or follower, success or failure, rich or poor, you can play your part with excellence. This excellence, not the role itself, determines your worth. Living according to nature means accepting your humanity while striving for your potential. You'll make mistakes. That's human. You'll face setbacks. That's life. You'll encounter people who misunderstand you. That's inevitable. None of this reflects your fundamental worth as a being capable of reason, growth, and virtue. The confident person isn't someone who never doubts. They're someone who doubts wisely, acts courageously despite uncertainty, and maintains their integrity regardless of outcomes. These 7 principles work together to create an unshakable foundation for confidence. The discipline of perception clears your vision. The dichotomy of control focuses your energy. Negative visualization prepares you for challenges. The internal scorecard frees you from others' judgments. The view from above provides perspective. Obstacles become opportunities for growth. Living according to nature aligns your actions with your deepest values. Implementing these principles requires daily practice. Each morning, ask yourself, what can I control today? What stories am I telling about my circumstances? How can I act according to my values regardless of outcomes? Each evening, reflect, what did I learn? How did I grow? Where did I let external validation influence my peace? Start small. Choose one principle that resonates most strongly with your current challenges. Practice it consistently for a week. Notice how your relationship with doubt begins to shift. Add another principle. Build your Stoic toolkit gradually, but persistently. Remember that even the greatest Stoics struggled with doubt. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not as a finished philosopher, but as a work in progress, reminding himself daily of these principles. Seneca faced exile and financial ruin. Epictetus endured slavery and physical disability. Their confidence came not from avoiding challenges, but from developing tools to meet them with dignity. The ancient Stoics discovered something remarkable. Self-doubt is optional. Not because life becomes easy, but because we become strong. Not because we avoid failure, but because we redefine it. Not because others always approve, but because we stop needing them to. These 7 principles have guided countless individuals through their darkest moments of uncertainty. They've transformed slaves into teachers, exiles into sages, and ordinary people into examples of human dignity. They can do the same for you. The choice is yours. You can continue letting doubt dictate your decisions, limit your growth, and steal your peace. Or you can join the ranks of those who've discovered that confidence isn't a feeling, it's a practice. It's not something you have, it's something you do. Your doubt has been your companion long enough. It's time to transform it into wisdom, your fear into courage, your uncertainty into action. The Stoics are waiting to guide you. The only question is, are you ready to begin? If this video helped you see doubt differently, subscribe for more ancient wisdom applied to modern challenges. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And let me know in the comments, which of these 7 principles resonated most with you? What's one small way you can practice Stoic confidence today? Remember, you are capable of more than you know, stronger than you think, and worthy of the respect you seek from others. The Stoics believed this about every human being, including you. It's time you believed it too. Until next time, live with virtue, think with clarity, and act with courage. The world needs what you have to offer, but first, you need to believe it yourself.